to make sure all the logistics is ready. So sit tight.
I can. Do it. We're ready when you are, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Marlon. To welcome everyone to the City of San Marino's Design Review Committee meeting on September 15. The City of San Marino appreciate all your attendance. Citizens' Interest provides the Design Review Committee with valuable information regarding issues of the community. Now I'd like to call the meeting to order. First, we will start with a flag salute. You may all join me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now I'd like to ask staff to take a roll call.
Committee Member McKay,
Present.
Committee Member Chang,
Present.
Vice Chair Lakon,
Present.
Chair Wong.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. The agenda is posted 72 hours prior to the meeting at the following locations: San Marino City Hall, San Marino Public Library, San Marino Recreation Department, and the San Marino website. I'd like to go through a few comments of the design review hearing procedures. Each committee member has received plans and have reviewed every item on the agenda and visited each site. The general order for hearing each case will be as follows. The committee will ask staff any questions they may have. The chair will then ask the applicant or the applicant's representative to comment on the proposal. The hearing will then be open to the public, and the chair will ask for comments for, against, or about the project. Staff will provide a brief explanation on the public comment process for the meeting later. In all cases, please come forward and give your name and address. At the conclusion of the public comments, the applicant will have a chance to respond, and no further comments from the public will be accepted. The chair will then ask for comments from each of the committee members. If there is no motion for approval or denial, the DLC has the option of continuing the application to a future meeting. In the event of a denial, it is hoped that the applicant will have heard comments during the public comment period and during deliberations that will be useful in resubmitting an application. It is indeed important for the property owner to understand that once a project is approved by the DRC, the drawings become legal documents. If any changes are made to the project subsequent to approval without obtaining proper approval of these changes, then the property owner is in fact breaking the law. There is risk of having to change the project back to the original approved design, or paying a fine to the City of San Marino equal to the greater of 5% of the project valuation, or 2,500, and then resubmitting the changes made to the project to the DRC. It is also important to understand that there is a 15-day appeal period after action has been taken for the applicant or any interested party to request the Planning Commission to review and act on the case. After all of the agenda items have been heard, 2 design review committee members will conduct the open forum. At this time, residents or their representatives may ask committee members about current or future projects relating to their property. Committee members can discuss the design with you, but cannot comment on how they might vote on the project. I will now turn to staff for an explanation on how we will take public comments during the meeting.
Thank you, Chair. During this meeting, the chair and staff will take public comment in two ways. One, for those that are participating in the audience in person, you can simply step up to the mic and provide your name and state your address and to provide your public comment in that way. And for those that are joining us on Zoom online, you can either use the raise hand feature or you can type into the chat message box and staff will call your name and ask you to provide comment. Thank you.
Thank you, staff. Now let us begin with agenda item number 1, design review case number DRC 21-37 at 1225 Mesa Road. May I ask the applicant or the applicant's representative to come forward and present your case? Thank you. Please say your name.
Good evening. My name is Danielle Dabbs. I live at 1225 Mesa Road. Is it possible to project the? Do you have a connection?
If you ask to share your screen. Are you on the Zoom call? Oh, you would have to join the Zoom call.
You can do the share screen.
Do you want to do your presentation?
In the meantime, Chair, may I provide a brief staff report on the item?
Please, sorry, yes.
So this is design review case number DRC 21-37 located at 1225 Mesa Road. The applicant is requesting to install a window material not listed on the city's pre-approved material list. The existing home is a 2-story mid-century modern single-family residence, and the proposed window material is an aluminum product called Series 250-T, manufactured by Fleetwood, a company located in Corona, California. Staff also noted that this particular window product is installed at 2000 Huntington Drive, which is a single-story multi-tenant commercial structure that recently underwent major renovation last year. Staff is able to make the compatibility finding that the proposed product will continue to maintain the architectural style that currently exists on the home. And staff is able to make the finding for the color and material required, and that it will allow the home to be compatible with itself and with adjoining neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you, staff. Any member of the committee may have a question? Yes, Committee Member McKay.
Thank you. I'd like to ask staff what the applicant stated was the reason for going with a material that is not on the city's pre-approved list.
When the property owner, whom is here in attendance and will be providing a presentation to the committee in a minute, approached staff and submitted the application for a material that is not on the city's list, is that she has considered the material on the list. However, she was not able to find a material that would be able to provide the size and the shape of the window that she needed for her home.
Was any supporting evidence provided that that is indeed the case?
No.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee? Seeing none, I'd like to ask the applicant to share the screen already and present the case. Thank you.
Thank you. So again, I'm Danielle. Sorry. Is that okay now? Okay. So I live at 1225 Mesa Road. As was stated, this is the front of my home. There is a set of double doors, stained glass window. There's a bay window to the left, and to the right, there are panels composed of fixed glass. I'm proposing a whole house window replacement. I'd like to use Fleetwood windows. Just a little bit of a background about the house. It's a very interesting house. It was developed by Phil Rolak, who, as you know, developed like the bulk of San Marino, as well as the Smith and Williams architect, who was really famous for a lot of the buildings downtown in Pasadena. This house was built from the ground up in 1952. It was slated as a mid-century contemporary build. At the time, there were a few changes to the house that I think the previous owners have done, but there's a little inconsistencies in the house. All of the operational windows in the house are brown. They are thin framed aluminum. The framing size is probably about an inch or less. However, all of the large fixed glass about the house. And I didn't show all the windows, but there are some windows that are maybe 15 feet or so tall, sort of floor to ceiling windows. There's lots of high ceilings. Those are all white. It's literally fixed glass with white stops around it, not really true windows. Then there's a couple of other windows in the house. There are some bay windows, as you saw in the entry, a garden window in the kitchen, and a mix of stained glass. So as you can see, sorry, there's a little bit of a lag. Let's see. It's not moving forward. There we go. So you see there's the front, just one of the operational windows, and the rest of the operational windows in the house have this appearance. They are aluminum, brown framed, very simple, flat, not a lot of ornateness about it. It's very classic mid-century. It's very true to the Smith and Williams design. But it's single pane glass that if you throw a rock at, it would break it. It's energy efficient, and the window replacement for the house has never been done. To the right, there is one of the smaller walls of fixed glass that you can see. There's a door. I'm just showing you the things that you can see and appreciate from the street. I guess I should have shown you the windows inside the house. So Fleetwood is known and kind of actually famous for being a commercial product. Long time ago, Fleetwood was installed in schools where they're known for these huge, massive windows. However, in current days, like in the 60s, they started to design for homes, specifically for architectural homes. They have clean lines, very simple machinery, very simple handles that I think would complement this house. I propose to replace the windows in kind. All the operational windows will remain the same. The fixed glass will remain the same. It's just that now everything will be brown instead of white, brown, and sort of a mix of things. Fleetwood does have the larger sizes. I did not put this in my report, but I can provide you the information with the Pellas and the Genwell and the other materials on the list that do not have this size, particularly if I were to go with a wood window. They just don't make them this large. I propose to provide consistency with the house and keep it with the same color, all the same color, and with respect to, I think what the architect had in mind. And I think sorry, there's a little bit of a delay on what my slide is and what I'm showing. My next slide just tells you a little bit more about Fleetwood. There's a company based in the USA. They've been in business for tens and 20s of years. They're green, sustainable, they're eco-friendly, high performance. They meet all the energy requirements. And again, the large size, not just the large size with the small window trim is essentially the key. And if you see along the fitness room here on Huntington Drive, you can see what I mean about the style. And to conclude, I'd like to respect what I think is an architectural window or what the architect had in mind. There's one main window that you can see from the street. I just don't think some of the more bulkier colonial windows would complement this house. Again, I would propose to replace the windows in kind, provide consistency, and I'd like to continue to use the existing aluminum material, which Fleetwood is. And I think that's it. This is. Yep,
Thank
I think
you.
that's it. Is it?
Is it? Okay,
Yes.
good.
Thank you.
I'd like to now ask if any of the committee members may have questions for the applicant.
I do.
Committee Member Chang?
If I may ask you, how many windows are being replaced with what you're proposing of the entire house? What percentage are we talking about?
It would be a whole house window replacement. There's about 48 windows. It's a little different because that bay window that you see in the front, for example, that's actually 3 windows. So because some of the windows are built like that. They actually have to be remade. There's about 48 to 52 windows in total.
So you're replacing the entire home?
It would be replacing the entire home. The back and side half of the house is essentially glass. It's like a glass house. And there's lots of large panels in the ceiling, large panels on the floor, a couple of doors here and there. But I would propose to replace it all. It will update the house a little bit because of the brown framing, whereas all the fixed glass now is white. But to be consistent, I would just replace it with the brown.
So it's all brown. We're basically using one style,
Correct,
window,
one style.
replacing the entire house, both
Correct.
up and downstairs.
Yeah, so the fixed glass is framed in wood. I'll keep the wood the same, but the window inside of the wood will just have a brown trim. And it'll be a very thin trim that will, I think, would complement the house.
And so all you won't have any transom window on top. Are you following the same window configuration? Basically?
Identical. There's nothing has been changed. There's nothing. So interestingly enough, this house has actually been featured in a couple of magazines for its, because of Smith and William, because the architects are fairly famous and they built these gas stations and all these buildings in Pasadena. So it literally, I think, would be, a crime to add lines and all these other things. It's very simple. It's a very simple house. It would be like for like all throughout.
So has Fleetwood been out to the job and
Correct.
checked all the head detail and the sill detail and all of that?
Correct. So the company that I would propose to purchase from is called Fusion Windows, and I think he tried to get on. I'm not sure if he's on yet, but we went through all the windows on the list, which their company also distributes, particularly not Milgard, but what's the name of the window company? Fibrex. Who makes Fibrex? Anderson. So we went through Anderson. And definitely went through some of the wood windows, but they were just so chunky, and the wood windows don't get that big. I think Pella was maybe a close second, but then Pella and like Torrance Steel, they're too ornate, I would say. They just have a little too much detail.
I'm looking at one picture here where the interior of the building, ceiling and the beams are all white.
Yes.
Have you considered try to match what they have so that the interior looks white rather than is that a bronze aluminum you're proposing?
Right. So to make Fleetwood windows white, that's like a custom color, and it's a really long process. And then I think the cost is somewhat exorbitant. And the other option is to, again, the white is going to remain, but then you'll just now see a brown trim on the inside for the window. So the white is going to stay. So that was my solution for that. But at least now it's not like one half, like right now, like one half of the house is brown, the other half of the house is white. Then there's an occasional brown window that's functional that's thrown in there. So it will update it a little bit, but I think it'll still be in taste. I think it'll still be in good taste.
Okay, thank you. That's what I have.
Thank you, dear. Any other questions? Where's your Lakon?
Are the large windows facing the back, I believe, are those windows within a frame, or are they framed within that wood casing?
So it's what it is there's a wood, like if a framer were to frame a house, there's a frame and they put fixed glass and they put these little stops around to basically hold the glass in place. That's all it is. It's not a true window, if you will.
Right, okay. So you're gonna remove the glass and then put a window inside.
Correct.
Existing casing. Make it-
Right. So the window will be laid within the existing framing.
So the glass part's gonna be a little bit smaller, I mean, a tiny bit smaller.
So the
because of the
glass part will
frame.
be ever so tiny smaller because we're putting in a window now. But that's the other thing is the profile on the frame of Fleetwood is very slim compared to pretty much anything. I mean, the other option is to just put in more fixed glass and more wood stops, but I don't know that it would be as energy efficient, which is kind of what the window dealer said. And I've spoken to a glass person as well to just replace glass, but then it's not really a window. It's not really a window if I just put in new glass. Because the glass that's there is old and single pane and, you know, it really needs to be replaced. It's never been replaced since the house, since 1952.
Right. Do we have, do windows have to be replaced eventually? Because
Do
I
they
have
to?
windows from the 20s in my house, so
Right.
I didn't think that they would need to be replaced just because they're from the 50s.
So the brown ones have turned colors. They don't hold seals. I have tons of spiders.
The browns are the new ones that
the-
somebody replaced.
No, not to my knowledge. The brown ones are just what's existing. Those are ones that have always been there.
Oh, they're original.
It's
brown
all
ones.
original. It's all original. And so I don't have to update the fixed glass, but it's, again, it is energy inefficient and, you know, I would prefer to have an energy efficient home, if you will, and consistency in the house.
Thank you.
So just to clarify, these Fleetwood 250T series windows
Yes.
will be double glazed,
Double glazed,
low E,
low E,
right?
yes.
And can you elaborate on any proposal on the panel doors in the main entrance and the panel glass on top? Both are, all of them are stained glass, right?
Correct. So I do not have I haven't found fallen in love with the door yet, so that's gonna stay for now until I figure out what door I would like to use to update the house. I considered putting in a Fleetwood door and just doing all solid glass. But literally the one time that they made a change, like the stained glass, like stayed with the house. And so I just kind of have mixed feelings on what kind of door I want. Because I don't want a solid door, but then I don't want a clear glass door. So I just haven't found the right door yet necessarily. So the door is going to stay for now. I may be coming before you again with a door proposal when I have that all kind of worked out. But for now, for me, the windows are kind of what's most troubling. A lot of them, there's a few casement windows that like on the wider sides of the house, like there's a wall that's fixed glass, and there's a couple casements in between. They don't close. You know, there's like things shoved in the windows. They just don't butt up anymore. I would like to install an alarm. I can't install an alarm because all the windows are, you know, they don't all function properly. So my biggest concern right now is the windows.
Okay, so coming back to the entrance, the doors would not be touched.
Not yet.
The
Not at this time.
stained glasses or the panels above the doors, do they stay as well?
I was going, that whole front door installation is just gonna stay for now until I find the thing that I want.
Okay, so the
thing.
front entrance, the stained glasses panels on top of the doors would not be touched. The
Correct.
entire
This-
facade.
all the stained glass on top, stained glass doors, all of that will be left intact.
Thank you. Any other questions? Committee member McKay?
Maybe just one
Thank you.
quick question
Remember-
for staff.
Okay.
If they ever gonna change the front door and or the stained glass replacement, would that go back to this committee?
Only in the event that the door size would change or the applicant asked to use a material that is not on the pre-approved list.
I see.
Even if I change the front door, it's still gonna be wood and glass. I mean, it'll still be and I don't propose to change the openings at all. They would still be the same. I just don't have a design feature for that at this time.
I ask a question because I think it is important that that actually changed the entire feel and look of the house.
Agree.
The front.
Honestly don't have anything in mind for that yet, so that will remain for now.
Committee member McKay?
Thank you. Have you visited any mid-century homes, properties that have used the Fleetwood product?
I have in LA mostly, there are some big homes that have used Fleetwood. They also have a lot of hexagon shapes and very large rectangles. Fleetwood and like La Cantina, I think, does like a beautiful job of just like seamless glass that like functionally they work well. I've visited some homes in Redondo Beach that, you know, these window like glass walls that are gorgeous. And Fleetwood is their very, very heavy, durable door, very nice mechanisms, very nice, you know, nice weight handles. I feel like Anderson, the handles are a little weak. I mean, it's a very robust product.
But these are mid-century homes in
No, they're-
Redondo
they're-
Beach?
So, yes, that's, you know, mid-century is like the rave now. So there are beach homes that are beach homes, but there's mid-century homes sprinkled in Palm Springs, Redondo Beach, in LA. I mean, they're everywhere. So but I have.
Thank
just to
you.
answer your question.
Any other questions from the committee? Seeing none, I'll close the applicant's presentation session and ask for any public comments, both through the internet and here in person. Any from staff? No. Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public comment session and then I'll move into committee member discussion. Committee member Chang?
Thank you. I have some experience with Fleetwood. I have mid-century homes, post and beam type homes. It's always my favorite. But it's got to be handled very carefully. I've seen a lot of mid-century homes got destroyed by using the wrong material, and what's proposed is the proper material for that style of home. It will work. I just want to make sure that the manufacturer would go and do the field measurement correctly so that all details are being addressed correctly. With that said, I did have a concern with the front door and that stained glass replacement. Since the applicant make it clear that it will not be considered at this time, I want staff to, at least on the record, if they ever going to change that, we should, staff should make a decision whether it should bring to the committee or not. It just, I don't want to make it a condition, but I think that portion is probably even more critical than what's in front of us now. So as what I said, this will be something that is properly chosen and I can support the application.
Thank you. Committee member McKay?
Thank you. I had concern about the applicants going outside of the pre-approved materials of the city, especially without support provided to staff. But I'm satisfied with the applicant's presentation tonight, that the proper research has been done and that there is support and evidence for going outside of those of our city's list of pre-approved materials, and that there is a precedent for using this material in mid-century architecture. And I appreciate very much the applicant's respect and sensitivity to the original architecture of the home. So I could support the project tonight.
Thank you.
Thank
Vice Chair Lee Kon?
Thank you. I too agree with my fellow commissioners, and I do appreciate your appreciation of the home. Those homes are really special, and there are a few, and we have lost some. So I really appreciate you maintaining the home and providing appropriate improvements. I can support it as proposed. I do think that the lining the large panels with brown, I understand being consistent. My one thought is that it will provide something to stop your eye, and I feel like it might detract from the inside outside feel. I would prefer to see it done in white, but I understand your situation, and that's what I have to say. So I could support it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. I echo my fellow committee members' observation that the applicant has done a very detailed amount of research and understand her property really well. As a mid-century minimalist style home, finding proper manufacturers to change over all the windows like for like throughout the house will not be an easy task. And I appreciate the thought that the like for like concept is being used, but more importantly, that the front arrival experience is being kept intact, meaning the stained glass, the panels, and the stained glass panel above the main doors. While it might be a little different from the style of this building, but it has been around, and this building has some changes and somewhat eclectic in style.
True.
So I think without changing the entire streetscape of the property, I also urge the applicant to try not to change out the main entrance appearance so that the part of the history of this property could stay intact. The committee seems to have a very consistent view that this project is very supportable, and I personally can also see this case being approved tonight. So may I ask if there is any motion?
I'll make the motion. I move to approve design review case number DRC 21-37 as presented and approved per staff report's recommendation.
Anybody second?
I'll second.
Staff roll call, please.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Committee Member McKay,
Yes.
Committee Member Chang,
Yes,
Vice Chair Laycon,
Yes,
Chair Wong,
Yes.
motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we are moving into item number 2 of the agenda. Design review case number DRC 21-52 at 1329 Cambridge Road. First, I'd like to ask for the staff report.
Thank you, Chair. Design review case number DRC 21-52 is a request to remove natural wood shake roofing material at 1329 Cambridge Road and replace it with Boral Cedar-like concrete tile roofing material in the Winterwood blend color on the existing home. This material is found on the city's pre-approved list. However, this color is not found on the list. The roof installer has cited that there is a material shortage and this color is not currently available. That's why they're requesting a color off the list. If you visited the site, you may have noticed that the home does not have a roof on it. The contractor originally pulled the permit in June of this year to install the ironwood color. However, subsequently, they found out that the material was not available and then applied for a request to install this color. After discussion with the roofer, it doesn't appear that he personally has installed this color on any other home in San Marino. However, that does not mean that is not currently installed. Unfortunately, I was unable to find homes within the neighborhood, at least, that had this color installed. Staff is able to make the required findings for granting approval for this color, and that concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you. Let's see if there's any questions from the committee to staff. I have one. Staff, has the applicant or the applicant's contractor ever considered the other 2 color options? Or has there been any discussion even?
There is no discussion about the other colors, no.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no further questions from the committee to staff, I'd like to ask the applicant or the applicant's representative to present the case. Please state your name and address.
Hi, my name is Michael Chen. I'm okay, represent to Sunshine Roofing. The address is 1329 Cambridge. The reason, okay, we got changed from the cedar like ironwood to the winterwood. The reason is because the production company now everything completely late to next year January. So that's why, okay, I've been waiting like 4 months. So the how we're doing the job now have been teared off, everything and covered with the felt paper now. But the house been wide open almost 2 months from now. So I need the commission, okay, approve, okay, we from the ironwood change to this winterwood. The reason the production company have been total completely late to next year.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee to the applicant? Committee Member McKay.
Thank you. I am curious why the former roof, the old roof was removed before you had material in hand to re-roof it.
Okay, we do. When I redo the, when I get the permit, we do the job. We do the job. So everything has been okay. Soon, the company called me, said now we got big problem. The company have been called on fire. So that means total production company have been stopped. So they don't make the cedar light for those color. Yeah.
But I mean, I guess what I'm saying is that the job began, usually jobs don't begin when you don't have the product in hand.
We do. When I call them, we place the order, everything have been material. But soon, the job we get doing there, and they call me now, they don't have the material, they ran out. Total have been stopped. So now they only have the one color they give to me, that is the sherwood, the winter wood.
The color seems a lot lighter
Yeah, the
than what you
color,
had proposed.
yes, ma'am. The color they have right now, the winter wood.
Is there any, are you stating tonight for the committee that there is only one color that this company has available in stock?
Yes, ma'am. That is the winter wood.
I would like to follow through on the same question. When you say the company, are you saying you contacted Boral, the manufacturing company, or you contacted a distributor?
That's a distributor, that is direct from Tao company.
Have you tried reach out to other distributors or wholesalers to see if you can find the pre-approved color?
No, now, any roofer, no one can get the tile because the productions, they don't make, the shell, ironwood, those colors see the some new approval. They total compete, they ran out. They don't anything color.
You are telling us, based on your conversation with Boral, the manufacturing company, they no longer make the ironwood color, or they are out of stock until next year?
No, they do, but like a problem, a production, the machine have been problem. So now they get the payment, they pay something, have been totally delayed to the next year, January. Yeah, so they only can get to me, one color, that's the, a winter wood.
So have you tried asking for the other two pre-approved colors, silverwood and hardwood at least?
No, they don't have,
Who doesn't have it?
no. Silverwood, hardwood, and silverwood, they don't have to. Only they have, the winter wood.
Yes, please. Vice Chair.
So you're telling us that nobody in the city can get a pre-approved color until next year?
Yes, ma'am.
Chair?
Please. Committee member,
Chair, if I
McKay.
may I, out of order, ask a question of staff?
Please go ahead.
I'd like to ask staff if you have received any kind of message consistent with the applicant's statement tonight that the pre-approved colors of Burrell are unavailable until 2022 and that there is no stock to be found in LA County or Southern California.
I have tried to reach out to Boral. No representative has responded. However, we have heard from other roofers that they don't specify which color of the material is out, but there is they have clarified for staff that there is a shortage. Several roofers have gone with different materials altogether. However, materials on the list. I haven't received an application recently for Boral within the last few months.
Thank you very much. I have a question for the applicant. I'd like to ask the applicant if you've considered a different manufacturer then. That would have a color that's more consistent with what you're originally proposing, a different manufacturer from the city's pre-approved pre-approved list. Have you considered that?
If I know some manual approval is okay, ironwood, I mean hardwood and shovelwood. We okay doing the job right now. The house has been still open, no roofing material on there, almost 2 months.
I'm sorry, I don't think that was responsive. Have you considered putting, roofing your house with another material from another manufacturer that's on the city's pre-approved list that's not Boral?
Okay. You can do, okay, I mean, the wood shade, but the homeowner, he don't like the wood shade. Another part of, okay, from, the slate, but the too expensive. And then same thing, you got wait like 2.5 months. If you order from the, New York City, the ship down to California take like 2.5 months, but the material is real expensive, the slate. And then, okay, if the wood shade, same thing, you got wait more like 2.5 months. Yeah.
I'm sorry, are you the applicant or the applicant's representative?
I'm representing my company, not the homeowner.
Is the homeowner available tonight? Is the homeowner present?
No, she not coming.
Any further questions?
I'll ask a quick question.
Committee Member Chang?
So if you were the roofing company?
Yeah, I'm the roofing company.
Okay, all right. For a while, I thought you were the property owner. So if you were able to find the material at all, the pre-approved color, in the market now within reason, couple of 3 weeks or so, would you be able to convince your client to accept that color approval?
You mean the cedar light or some different
Right.
color?
Right. It's either that, if there is, you can continue to check with other distributors, see if there's any at all before
No.
we make the decision. And
No.
maybe staff can also reach out and see if we can find it. So you have tried to find it?
I did, sir. I did, okay, show her every day. It's a total, it know anything, okay, the material, the color, city approval, like say silverwood, hardwood, and winterwood. They know anything, even, okay, 10 feet top, they don't have nothing.
I see.
On my hand right now, I have 5 jobs. I have, okay, get the permit already. Same thing with the ironwood, but those 5 jobs right now, I just, you can leave it there. I told the homeowner, you can wait for next year. But the job I'm doing, okay, right now, the big problem, because I removed the roofing material already, so the house is wide open without the material.
I guess the second question, Committee Member McKay had asked you, would the owner consider anything else rather than the cedar light material that is on the pre-approved list? Have you offered that to them, or have you checked stock on those?
I offered the homeowner, like I said, the homeowner, the first thing, she don't like the wood shade, the wood shade. She don't like it. And then we go to, okay, wingy, okay, the material city allow, and then I go to the next one. That means slick, but the reason is expensive. So almost double price. The owner can afford it.
Okay, I guess the question is, there is a real problem in the market right now, that building material has been a challenge, especially in the last 3-4 months. Things are getting a little bit better now. I don't know whether this particular product is one of them. It has been affecting a lot of construction work actually at this point in time. But so with that said, I don't know whether we can act on it based on the condition that maybe staff can reach out to the manufacturer and see if there is, verify if it's true or not true, that it is not available. If it's available, then we definitely want them to use the pre-approved color. But if it truly is not available, then I think we may have to consider an alternate.
Let's keep this in our discussion section and finish up the question if there's any more to the applicant.
Yeah.
I have one is that I see a for sale sign
Yes.
in the front yard.
Exactly.
So my question to you, if you can answer on behalf of the owner, is that if the project gets a go ahead, is the owner determined to finish it as soon as possible?
Yes, sir.
Any other question?
I didn't understand. What was the material that the owner said she couldn't use?
You mean the current?
There was material on the pre-approved list that I wasn't sure if you said it was wood or a different material on the list that she did not want to use.
Do you say
Due to
slate?
price?
Like I said, the wood shade, she don't want, because original she how right now is wood shade. So we pay okay with the, with the tile. And then another two part, the ones the slate, another one the wood shade. So that the city allow, but she said no, she don't want to go for. But the slate, she said good, but the reason is real super expensive, almost double price. Yeah.
The wood shake is what was on the roof prior to removing it, correct?
Yeah.
And now she's selling the house. So what would be wrong with putting a wood shake back and
No,
selling the
because
house? If she doesn't like it, that's one thing, but she's selling it, so.
because
Give
she's
us a copy
selling
for
the
the house.
house. She's selling the house, and then like the city, someone okay. I can say the more okay, like Chinese people, they don't like the wood shade. They like go to okay, like the material go to go to the tile. So she said no, she don't want the wood shade.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand. She didn't like that because of she doesn't like it because of, I didn't understand. Can you repeat that?
No, okay, original the house is wood shade. So that's why she pay the wood shade to the cedar light. And she can easily selling the house. Yeah,
To sell it?
yeah. It's in market right now, the house. And then
Right.
without the roofing.
Correct.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Okay, so you're saying that she could sell it easier if it has a cedar light on it versus a wood?
Yeah.
Because some people don't like wood?
More people they don't like the wood shade no more. They like the tile.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll thank the applicant's representative and I'll open for public comments. Anybody from the floor or through the internet want to give any public comment? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing comment session and close the public hearing and then begin the committee discussion. Committee member McKay.
Thank you. I cannot support the project tonight. At most, I can support a continuance. I feel it is very, very unfortunate and a serious error in planning to remove the pre-existing wood shake roof without having product in hand to re-roof the house. I just have never heard of that. I don't think that I received a response that I felt was adequate as to why the other approved materials of the city are not being considered. Maybe one of those materials is too expensive, but we are talking about a roof that is going to be on that house for decades. And it's a roof that this owner is not going to be living with because she's selling the house and couldn't be bothered to come to the meeting tonight. So I cannot support this. I think the color is too light. There's a reason it's not on the city's approved list. And I don't find that there is the only compelling reason that we're being asked to approve it is because there's no roof on the house right now. But the reason there's no roof on the house right now is not something that it's just a very unfortunate series of events. So I would strongly urge the owner to select a material from the city's approved list, roof the house, and apparently sell the house. But I don't think that we should be called upon to approve a color that is not pre-approved, that is going to be on that home for decades, or have to be ripped off by a subsequent owner for our unfortunate decision tonight. And I think that, you know, the applicant's representative is trying to style this as something where we're against the wall. Well, I don't appreciate that. So I cannot support it tonight.
Thank you. Committee Member Chang?
Yeah, I agree with what the comments made. I think if the homeowner decided not to work with the pre-approved product because of marketability, that's something that I cannot accept. There is other material that are pre-approved and can be installed. Houses right next to Huntington Library is in a very prominent location, that roof is large enough that can be seen. What I hate to do is to have something that we are being forced to make a decision on less than desirable. And then the homeowner walked out anyway. So within a couple of months, they're gone and we got stuck with it for 25 years. So I would say that they do have a solution. If they have to go to wood shake, they can always put one in and it's fine. So I would, if they want to come back, I would support a continue also. That's about all I can do this time.
Thank you. Vice Chair Lakon?
Thank you. I also would not be able to support this color tonight. Not only because it's not on the pre-approved list, but I don't find the color to be compatible with the home itself. And it is a very prominent roof. It is in a very important area of the city. As Commissioner Chang mentioned, it's next to the Huntington Library. I think that the owner should use a material that is on the pre-approved list in one of the colors. So tonight I could not support this.
Thank you. Indeed, this is a corner lot close to the Huntington Library. A very light color roof with such a low pitch would make it really visible. There are a lot of alternatives in the city's pre-approved roofing material list. The applicant's representatives only mentioned slate and wood shake, but there are other simulated wood shake beyond Cedar Light, for example, Cedar, for example, Da Vinci, for example, President Tweed. So tonight, I myself cannot get adequate information that the applicant has tried or exhausted all options. And together with my fellow committee members, I believe we have a fairly consistent view that we cannot continue this project. So we cannot approve it tonight. So may I ask if there is any motion?
So if I hear you correctly, you said we
Cannot support it tonight.
support it tonight. So are you entertaining a continuance or denial?
I see this project deserve to be continued.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
So I'd like to make a motion to continue design review case number DRC 21-52.
Any 42nd? I'll second it. Roll call, please.
Committee Member McKay,
Yes.
Committee Member Chang,
Yes,
Vice Chair Lakon,
Yes.
and Chair Wong.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now we are moving into agenda item number 3, design review case number DRC 21-19 and 21-61 at 1434 Park Place. Staff report, please.
Thank you. Design review case number DRC 21-17 and 21-61 are requests to construct a new approximately 1,029 square foot second story addition to an existing approximately 3,697 square foot single story residence. The applicant is also requesting to install Arcadia custom thin profile aluminum windows, which are not currently found on the city's pre-approved list. The proposed second-story addition will feature 2 new bedrooms, each with corresponding bathroom and closet. The site is currently improved with the 1-story single-family home and an attached 2-car garage on a 25,252 square foot lot. The lot is also improved with a detached 918 square foot accessory structure. The subject property is bound on all sides by residential properties and has no direct street access to the property. Access is through an easement located to the west of the property between 1420 and 1440 Park Place. The project also includes actions not subject to design review, including the enclosure of an existing 460 square foot covered porch area in the rear of the home and the raising of the roof above the entryway and dining room by approximately 4 feet 6 inches. Staff is able to make the findings required for granting approval for both design review actions, and that concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you. Is there any question from the committee to staff? I have one. Can staff clarify the arithmetic between the added area in first floor and second floor together is less than what is in the residential plan information sheet of 1638 square feet?
Sure, I apologize for that. I did mean to make that clarification. So the discrepancy, based on the information that the architect has provided, is on the residential plan information sheet on sheet A0A. That square footage is calculated, including the thickness of the walls. So it does include the to the exterior of the home, which is how square footage is calculated typically. The square footages shown on the floor plans, however, count the interior of the rooms. So I don't have the exact square footages of the addition area based on exterior counts, but the total addition, when accounted for the thickness of the walls, will be the number shown on the residential plan information sheet, which is 1,638 square feet.
Thank you, staff. The delta is about 10%, so I believe that is reasonable. Thank you for the clarification. Any other questions for staff? Okay, Vice Chair Lee-Kon.
Why is the raising of the front door not part of our purview?
I'm sorry if you could speak.
The raising of the entryway, why is that not part of our purview?
It is because of the way the property is oriented, that is technically not visible from the street. So that action would not trigger a design review committee hearing on in and of itself.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I'll just ask one quick question. For the area they raised about 4 foot something, does that reach out to the counting double the square footage height?
It does not, because it's under the 15 feet height limit that would trigger counting the double the square footage.
So it's still within the original footage, right?
Correct. It does not, you wouldn't double the square footage in the count.
Right, okay. I'll ask the applicant later on the height of that added area.
Any other questions to staff? Seeing none, I'll now like to invite the applicant or the applicant's representative to present the case.
Marlon, this is John Byram. Could you make me a co-host so I can share my screen?
If you go ahead and click share screen, it'll let you do it.
We would just request that John would represent us. We'll be here for.
Sure. So please state your name and address.
Yeah, this is John Byram. I'm the architect for the project. My address is 792 East California Boulevard in Pasadena, California.
Please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, let's see if I can get this working here. This is the site that's just north of Lacey Park. As Mr. Cervantes said, it's accessed by a driveway easement across a property that fronts the street. That driveway is shared with several properties. This is a view showing the adjacent houses. It also shows how the existing driveway works from Park Place. The property has an existing house from 1965 that was done by John Wells. It's a mid-century modern, a true garden case study modern house. And there's an accessory building at the back that we believe was the caretaker's cottage for the original San Marino golf course. There actually was a road that was abandoned that went to the north of the property, and that gave access to the site. Subsequently, that was abandoned and taken over by the other properties. So that's the reason for the landlocked parcel and the driveway easement. This is a view from the street. Looking up the drive, the current house and even with the proposed addition wouldn't be visible from the street. It's as you go up this drive, it's off to the left. As I said, it's a case study house with low horizontal, large overhanging eaves. And it's really a time capsule because the owner that my client acquired the property from, she actually built the house, and we have the original architectural plans. And what's really wonderful about this house is how it relates to the back garden, and we'll show you that. This is the front elevation of the house, the garage being on the left. You go around a very large, I believe it's a sycamore, to get to the garage door, and the existing entrance is right in the center of the house. This is the back garden, and as with garden case study houses, you can see how the glass windows of the house are all oriented toward this garden, so it embraces a really wonderful special place. It has a number of specimen trees and a large expanse between it and the accessory building. This would be the north elevation, looking back toward the dining room and kitchen. This is the south elevation. This shows the existing door to the water heater and has bedroom windows. The house is kind of characterized by some wood-clad fascia and large overhanging eaves. If you'll notice, the windows go floor to ceiling. This is looking from the backyard at the lanai and toward the gallery where the front door of the house comes through. And several design commissioners got an opportunity to visit the house. It's really hard to convey kind of the scale and the wonderful nature of this house through photographs, but we'll try. As I said, it has some really wonderful specimen trees. The owner prepared retained an arborist to do a tree protection report. So he identified all the trees on the property, and none of these trees will be destroyed or interfered with by the construction of this addition. But he did catalog ones that were close to where construction might be happening and has a protection fence design. Again, this is looking from the rooms inside toward this wonderful garden space in back. It's really a wonderful transparency between the indoors and the outdoors. So this is how we approach the site planning. I believe the closest neighbor is over 50 feet away in terms of the setback of this house from the neighbors. There's quite a bit of natural landscaping that provides a screen already. But what we decided to do, the owners have a fairly large collection, and they also have grandkids that live in town. And so when their parents are gone, they need a place to stay. And this 2-bedroom house really didn't have it. But as you can see, when we were doing our site planning, that relationship of those lower levels to the backyard garden was something that just we couldn't see how to add at the ground level onto the back of this house. So our approach was to add just the required area for a bedroom and expand the there's no living room in the house currently, so this would expand the ground floor to allow them to have their collections and some office space. So we located, I don't know that you can see my cursor or not, but this is a second floor addition, and we've set it in from the first floor one level house. So the new second floor is recessed away from the edge. So as you're coming up to the house or from a lot of the neighbors' vantage points, you don't perceive the second story without having the intermediate first story in between. And this was our square footages. In answer to the question, the calculations on the floor plans followed the directions in the plan, which said to provide the area of each room, which I did. So those square footages don't include the exterior walls or the chase going up the second floor. This is the ground level. As you can see, the second floor spans over the top of this area here. And we would use the existing walls for shear walls to bring support down for the structure, and maybe a moment framing back to allow this open glass to the courtyard. So this creates a living room that wasn't there before. Right now there's you walk into a gallery along here, and then this is a den. On the second floor, I've provided for the owner's master bedroom and a connected bath, and a room for the grandchildren when they came with their own connected bath. And we have a gallery across the front that we can put some of the owner's artwork on. This is, and I apologize for kind of the Crayola colors of this. The woman that usually does our coloration of our renderings, her husband died of COVID, so it's been kind of a tough time for our office. This is the existing house. And its large low roof. Some of the hedges and stuff are much taller than shown here, and we've taken them away so you can see what's going on. And I've put on the same picture. This is our proposed second story addition. The whole house has a very low ceiling. And so in the entryway and over the kitchen, I've added an intermediate roof. And this roof is lower than the requirement for counting it as additional square footage. But what this does is it allows an intermediate level of eave line when perceiving the house. And I can show you on the elevation. So as you come up to the house, the hedge we've all cut away so that you can see the house. But as you can see, there's this intermediate level roof, makes the transition much softer. And we were very interested in carrying the same idiom and morphology of the existing case study architecture. So we repeated the eaves. The eaves on overhanging eaves on the house vary from 2'8" to 1'6". And so we've made them slightly shorter as you go up. I don't know if you're familiar with Intesis, but as you view up toward the house, you'll see more of the underside of the roof. So if you kept them the same overhang, they would appear top heavy and larger than the lower ones. And so by receding the length of the overhang, it gives a balance and makes it feel natural, kind of like you'd see in a pagoda or in a Frank Lloyd Wright Usonian house. This is a view from the garden. Again, we have an intermediate roof here. This allows some height over the kitchen, and it preserves this relationship between these existing spaces and the wonderful backyard garden. We hired a surveyor to create a topographical survey so we'd know what the points were around the house, and we use that to establish our datum point for our elevations. And most of the properties, especially one this large, someone who bought this house would probably take it down and put something, one of the more caricature kind of architectures on it, and be much larger than what we're proposing here. So I applaud the owner for going with a sympathetic expansion of the existing architecture. Many of these case study houses are disappearing. So this shows the fenestration and in straight elevation. Again, this is the facing the rear garden. You can see the intermediate roof here. And we've continued the floor to ceiling glass. We're interested in kind of picking up the same hand, if you will, of the architecture so that it has a relationship to the existing. As I said, we had the existing construction drawings, so we were able to look how each of these were done. Fortunately, the thicknesses and things allow us to repeat the same construction and get our insulation values that we needed. As I said, the entire house is 8'1", even on the large spaces, it's an 8'1" ceiling. So their existing windows and doors were aluminum in a clear anodized. These were by Arcadia, and Arcadia still produces them. We would be restricted to using a slightly thicker profile, but they still produce the same width. So the doors that we would be adding would match the existing. These were the windows. Now the windows were a little different. To support the thermal break, the windows would be a little heavier, a little thicker than these. But stylistically and with the aperture sizes that we're proposing, I think it would feel a relationship to the existing windows that would be imperceptible in terms of one thickness versus the other. I think that they would blend very well. There was a company, Metal Window Corporation. I don't know if any of you have used their product. They just recently closed, but they had a very thin profile aluminum window, and I would be proposing that if they were still in business. And the cement plaster, we're matching the existing one. Mr. Cervantes, who I want to commend at this point for really helping us get our project together and the materials that we needed to submit to you, had requested that we produce a mock-up of the cement plaster color and finish that we plan on using, so he can verify the exact texture that's going on. Again, we're going to try to match the, we've got a Cabot stain that's very close to the stain that's on there now. It's opaque stain matches. And then again, the Arcadia profile, they call it mill finished anodized clear, matches the existing finish, although there's some patenting on the existing windows, but that'll happen eventually with the new ones. The existing roofing is a fiberglass, but it has the same titanium oxide colorant. And so the new TPO roof matches the existing exactly. So again, we'd be replacing the roof that we're taking up with the second floor. So it's a fairly horizontal roof, so there's not a lot of visibility, but it does provide the reflection that we need to meet Title 24. We couldn't do it without a really reflective roof, cool roof. Again, our major focus was to support the wonderful existing architecture and its relationship to this beautiful landscape. And we want to keep all of this. And so this kind of guided our planning, our selection of materials, and how we wanted to kind of embrace the existing architecture. And it was wonderful to meet the original owner who had worked with John Wells to create the house. So we got a lot of insight and appreciation for the architecture that she created. So we think we can add to this in a considered way and meet the owner's requirements for area, and yet preserve this wonderful piece of architecture in San Marino. Thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you for your presentation. Is there anything else the applicant would want to augment? Okay, thank you. Seeing none, I'll close the applicant's presentation session and ask for any public comments. Please say your name and address.
Evening, my name is John Williams. I live at 1420 Park Place, adjacent to the Miller's home. on the west side of their home. I'm here tonight merely to voice my approval of their project. The design is really wonderful. Having lived in our house for, I don't know, 17, 18 years, we were concerned that when Mrs. Spear sold the home, that God knows what would go up in that large property. And so this is a wonderful development in that regard. We had some apprehension that that perhaps that the design would not, well, about our privacy. In other words, a mutual respect for our privacy was really a large concern, and looking at this design, it's been alleviated. We've got hedges between our properties that maintain the privacy of, into our backyard and into their driveway and front yard. And again, I laud the design of this project, and just wanted to voice my support. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments through the internet? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment session and close the public hearing and begin the committee member discussion.
Can we have some questions for the audience?
Yes, committee member Chang, please.
Actually, it's the question for the applicant.
For the applicant, please, sorry, I apologize.
Thank you. John, we appreciate your presentation. I do have a few questions for you. Is the current home, you said 8.1, that is the ceiling height at this point in time?
Yeah, that's the existing ceiling height of, I believe, every room in the house.
Okay. Is that a post and beam construction, or is a just normal regular type 5 framing? In other words, what's holding up that whole floor to ceiling window? What is above that? It's just a header, or what is it?
Yeah, it's not technically post and beam. It's type 5 with let-ins. Let-ins are a diagonal 1x that's recessed into the face of the building. That provides its lateral stability. And then the post and beams have non-moment wood connections currently. What we would be doing with the second floor is effectively the second floor would go through the first floor, and we would substitute the posts with columns in two places to create a moment frame, so that the second floor will support itself and it will become a sheer anchor that the surrounding house can buttress against and tie together.
So you have columns coming down from the second floor onto the footing?
Yes, we will put new footings under the existing walls in the interior, 2 of them, to give us a shear support with plywood. And then in the opposing direction, we'll have a moment frame with columns, and that'll be anchored with perimeter rim joists, so there won't be any torsion.
So your exterior wall will be flush, the interior wall will actually further out then basically.
Yeah. We're taking those because the exterior walls are inboard of the existing exterior walls. They line up. We've specifically designed the second floor so that those second floor walls line up with an existing wall below. So we would underpin with a new footing under the existing walls and carry the lateral down through the existing walls into the new footing.
Thank you, appreciate that. Now, when you get up to the second floor, it's also 8.1 ceiling height, or about?
I'd have to go on and look. My belief was it was 8.
I see.
I'd have to look at that. I don't recall offhand.
Look at elevation, it appears to be.
Yeah, I had elevations. Hold on a second. I'll look just so I can answer your question.
Thank you.
Okay.
It should be under elevation east elevation.
Yeah, the second finished floor is at 10 feet. And the top of the plate is at 18'1". So the second floor and the first floor are exactly the same.
Okay. All right. One more quick question on the roof framing. I see somewhere that is it going to be intended to be a flat roof, or you have some slope on the top of the second floor addition?
The existing roof is quarter inch per foot to the fascias.
And is that going to be the same on your new addition?
Yes. Yes, so the existing roof has a pitch to it, and it goes from it will go from the face of the exterior second floor walls and clear stories to the existing fascia. So that we will not be changing the slope of the existing roof. And then the new roofs go into that, and they have quarter inch per foot slope.
So you're basically following the same roof pitch on the second floor as it is
Yes.
currently on the first floor?
Correct.
Okay, and is there a ridge line in the middle, or you pitch in one direction only?
No, there's a ridge and a pitch to it's hipped four ways effectively. So there's a
Pitch four ways for draining.
yes.
Okay. Exposed rain gutter, downspout?
Interior scuppers.
Interior scuppers, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry I asked all this question because I think being a case study house, being a home that represent an area and the type of construction, it is important to carry out those details, and I appreciate your answer.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all.
Great. Any other questions from the committee to the architect? Yes, please, Vice Chair Lee-Kon.
Are you going to be continuing the existing exterior lighting?
Right now, if my recollection serves me correctly, there was some recessed lighting in the lanai, which is the rear patio. We don't have any exterior spaces. So basically the light shed from the new structure will be solely from the windows.
Thank you.
If you're talking about interior,
Just exterior.
oh, just exterior, yeah. So the light throw will just be from interior windows. We're not planning any exterior floodlights or anything of that nature, no.
John, I have a quick question for you. In your presentation, you said the new and the old windows will blend in really well. Can you remind the committee that except for the new openings for doors and windows, the remaining windows will stay as it? Is it correct?
That's correct. My mechanical engineer tells me there's a caveat in the prescriptive and design approach that allows you to add to an existing house and keep the envelope of the new house with some additional add-ins that allow you to keep the envelope of the existing house as is. But you must, in the new windows, you must have, in our case, it would be double pane, boron filled, solar band, clear glass in a thermally broken frame. And so the doors that Arcadia have now match the existing profile, including the hardware, almost exactly. They're thicker, but they're not wider. The windows are wider and a little thicker both, but they're fairly low profile in consideration of what's available on the market. I think they're a good replacement. So if you're in the backyard and you're looking at the house, it's my opinion that the aluminum windows that you see on the ground floor and the aluminum windows that are on the second floor will appear very close, probably to an untrained eye, maybe indistinguishable. And then we'd be keeping on the on the downstairs, we would keep the same floor to ceiling aperture that we have on upstairs.
Thank you. Other questions?
One more quick question, if I may, John. On the second floor, roof rafter or ceiling joist, your roof joist, you said this is sloping only 1/4 inch to a foot. You have an idea what size they may be? 2 by 12, 2 by 10? What do you think you may use?
They're 2 by 12s with a ripper on top. And the 2 by 12s allows us to get the R value thickness with conventional bat insulation.
I see. So
And that matches the thickness of the existing house. That's why I said, fortunately, a lot of houses built during this era are done with 2 by 6s. And so therefore we'd have to go to polyisocysanurate or some other panel in order to get that R value.
I see. Okay, that's all right. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Seeing no more questions from the committee to the architect, I'll close the session as well. And seeing no more public comments coming in, I'll close the public hearing and begin the committee member discussion. Committee member McKay.
Thank you. I could support the project tonight. I want to commend the applicant on the true and sincere respect for the original home, the significance of the architecture with this wonderful property, this case study house, and the preservation of it, so thoughtful and careful. I very much appreciated the presentation of the architect as well. And I think that this addition is in keeping with the original home. It's compatible with the original home and will be an enhancement for the owners and for future owners. So I could support the project tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Committee member Chang.
Thank you. These are the architecture treasures we have in the city. I'm glad that the applicant and the architect understand that and try to preserve what in our architecture stock, not tearing this thing down. We lost a lot of this already, and it's unfortunately. And fortunately, this one will be preserved, and I appreciate the architect's diligent study and try to preserve and keeping the original intent and detail of what's in front of us. It is something that we work so hard to preserve, this type of treasure and art that's in the city. So with that said, I can support the project.
Thank you. Vice Chair Lee Kon.
Yes, I agree. I could support the project also as presented. And I appreciate the attention to preservation and working with this home. It's really beautiful, and the addition is very well integrated, and I think it's going to be a nice enhancement. So thank you.
Thank you. I also want to commend the applicants and the architectural team in giving so much good thoughts into this project. To me, it's not only conserving and preserving it, but also giving it a next chapter. And I hope that it will be a very bright chapter. And I also appreciate the applicant work around with the good neighbors so that the community feel of San Marino can continue on. If more cases are done like this, it'll make our life a lot easier. I myself can find all the findings worked on by staff in existence, and I can approve the project tonight. So can I see if there's any motion for the project? Motion to approve design review case number DRC 21-17 and 21-61 at 1434 Park Place. Anybody second?
I second the motion.
Do we want to add the condition?
Yes, thank you, thank you. And that in the conditions cited in the staff report. The two conditions. Agree?
Yes,
Okay.
I second the motion.
Thank you. Roll call staff, please.
Committee Member McKay,
Yes.
Committee Member Chang,
Yes,
Vice Chair Lakon,
Yes.
and Chair Wong.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Thank you. Great. Now, seeing no one in the floor or online for any open forum, I would adjourn tonight's meeting. And the next meeting would be held Wednesday, October 21st, 7 PM. Thank you. and have a good
Just a
night.
correction, that's October 20th.
October 20th. Yes, sorry. Good night.